If I had to choose my favorite type of fried chicken, and that's pretty hard to do, but I would say that karaage is right up there. It's a really great fried chicken that comes from Japan, and it ticks all the marks. Crispy exterior, juicy interior, and it's easy to make. So I'm gonna make it for you now. And we're starting off with a marinade. Now, it's a pretty traditional marinade that we're using here, but it's got some potent ingredients that's going to flavor the meat very quickly. All right, so first of all, fresh ginger. We're using fresh ginger root here. Now there's a few different ways that you can peel ginger. You can peel it with the side of a spoon, or you can use a vegetable peeler. Now, a lot of people don't like to use a knife to peel away the peel because they say it's wasteful, but it really isn't. I'm gonna show you. So I'm gonna cut off a little bit here, and I'll cut this off too, so I have a nice flat surface. And I'm just going to use my knife and go around. And it looks like I'm cutting away huge amounts of the peel. That's okay because it's only a waste if you're not going to use it again. I keep these things in a zipper lock bag in my freezer, and it goes into rice or stocks or soups. Now to grate this, I'm going to use a rasp style grater because it really does a great job of turning this into a pulp and quick. And I need a tablespoon. All right, and you see the juice coming out there too. That's a good sign. See if that's close. So that looks like a tablespoon, and that goes. Now, also going to add some garlic. And I'm kind of lazy. So what I like to do is buy garlic in bulk that's already peeled, and I put it in a zipper lock bag, and I keep this in my freezer. I just bring a couple of cloves out so that they can soften a little bit. And then since these are frozen, they actually grate beautifully on that same rasp grater. Of course, you could always use a garlic press or mince it yourself. 2 garlic cloves in with the ginger. So for our other ingredients, I've got some soy sauce here. This is just regular soy sauce. And I need 3 tablespoons. So packed with sodium, but packed with those glutamates. So this is what really makes this flavorful and also helps to season the meat quite quickly. And I'm using sake. Now, sake is a fermented beverage. It's made from polished white rice, and it's got a light, almost herbal flavor that we love here. I'm using 2 tablespoons. But if you don't want to use sake, you can actually use vermouth. I've got 3/4 teaspoon of sugar. That's a half, and then a half of a half. That would be a quarter. And 1/8 of a teaspoon of table salt. So let me whisk all this together. I'm going to put this aside for a moment while we work on our chicken. Now, traditionally, bone-in, skin-on chicken thighs are used, but we're using boneless, skinless, because it's a whole lot easier than having to remove the bone from a bunch of chicken thighs. So I've got here 1.5 pounds of chicken thighs, and we do need to do a little bit of work, just some trimming. So take one of these here. Good to have a very sharp knife. You can also use kitchen shears for this. And I just want to get rid of any of this fat that's on here because it really won't render. It's a very quick cooking time, and that fat will stay underneath the coating, and we don't want that. And then once most of the chicken has been trimmed, we're just going to cut it into strips, somewhere between 1 inch to 1.5 inches wide. And that's going to give us even more of that beautiful coating. All right, so I'll continue to trim these chicken thighs and then cut them into strips. All right, so all of this chicken goes in. All right, I'll just toss this, make sure everything's coated, and we're going to let this marinate for 30 minutes. Arguably, the best part of this chicken is its super crisp coating. Now, there are a couple of different things that are used for the coating. Most often used is potato starch, but that can be a little difficult to find in some markets. Now, an alternate that's often used is cornstarch, and that's what I'm going to use today. For now, all I need to do is measure 1.25 cups of cornstarch. There we go. Now, I'm going to dip the chicken 1 piece at a time from the marinade right into the cornstarch. And it can get a little tricky and a little bit messy, so I'm going to do my best to stay nice and neat. This hand is marinade hand, this hand is cornstarch hand. Now, I've also lined a rimmed baking sheet with some parchment paper because this is where I'm going to place the chicken after they are coated. So, we take a piece, we let any of that marinade kind of drip back down there, and I'll plop it right into my cornstarch. Then I'll use this hand to coat it, make sure it's well coated, and then I do want to shake off any excess. So there we go. All right, so I'm going to continue to dredge these in cornstarch. Then after that, I'm going to let all of the pieces sit for a little bit. That way the cornstarch can fully hydrate. And during that time, while the pieces are hydrating, I'm going to heat a quart of vegetable oil up to 325 degrees. I'll do that over medium-high heat. We're about ready to fry. The oil temperature is almost up to 325, but I want to give you a look at this coating. You can see where it's changed color. I coated these first, and you can see they're almost completely brown. These were the ones that I coated at the end. They still have quite a few white patches. But I did save some of this marinade because we want to take the back of a spoon and just add a little bit of the marinade to any of these dry white patches. We want them to gel up completely. Oil is up to 325, it's time to fry. I'm only going to fry half of these at a time, and I'm going to use tongs to lower them in one piece at a time. A nice single layer there. All right, that looks great. Now these don't take a lot of time to cook, only about 4 to 5 minutes until they're cooked through, and they'll change and become a beautiful brown color, and that's how we're gonna know that they're done. The pieces are so small, we don't even need to use an instant read thermometer to check the interior temp. So I'm going to keep an eye on this, set my timer for about 4 minutes, and then we'll move on. That's a good sound. Sound of bubbling meat and fat. Oh yeah. All right, but this looks pretty good to me. You can see that they've got a gorgeous brown crust. Let them drain for a moment, and then I'm going to put them on a wire rack here that I've lined with some paper towels, just to finish draining. Oh yeah. So now I'm going to allow that oil to come back up to 325 before I fry the remaining batch of chicken. Oh, I think the second batch might be my favorite. Look how beautiful these are. Let's get these out. And that was 8 minutes total frying time for these. Great. And we'll give that second batch just a moment to drain, but I'll go ahead and start plattering the first batch. Now this chicken needs nothing at all, no adornment, but here's a couple of options. Now lemon is a perfect option. It's quite traditional because that burst of acidity is great for cutting through any kind of fatty foods. I'm torn because I wish you were here, but then that would mean I would have to share. I'm going to be greedy and tuck in right away. And I could break out the knife and fork, but come on, it's fried chicken. Chicken thighs were made for this. Meaty. And then that marinade makes them so juicy, but it's that crispy and hot coating on the outside. It shatters when you bite into it. It was just cornstarch on the exterior, but when you think about it, it really wasn't. It was cornstarch mixed with that marinade, and that marinade had tons of flavor in it. So every single bite is just a big burst of flavor. It's not often when something so easy is so delicious. You're gonna wanna make this too. And remember, the keys are to use boneless, skinless chicken thighs and moisten any patches of dry coating before frying. So from America's Test Kitchen at home, the unbeatable, super crisp and juicy Karaage. Delicious.
Thanks for watching America's Test Kitchen. What'd you think?
Well, leave a comment and let us know which recipes you're excited to make, or you can just say hello.
You can find links to today's recipes and reviews in the video description.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
See you later.
I'll see you later.